A comedian turned actor turned talk show host, Whoopi Goldberg has suffered from PTSD for a very long time after only witnessing two planes colliding mid-air. So just imagine what rape victims and soldiers go through. Do they just live with it? My name is Fidelia Margaret Francis, and I'm a first-year medical student. Today, I'll be explaining on the treatments of post-traumatic stress disorder, which is commonly known as PTSD. PTSD is basically a mental disorder that occurs after a person experiences a traumatic event in their life, commonly to people who experience a traumatic event over and over again. The symptoms of PTSD may vary from person to person, but here are four common main categories of the symptoms. So intrusive memories are when a person suffering from PTSD commonly face the same memories again and again, and this may affect their daily lives. They can't continue to carry out their daily activities because of these intrusive memories that keep disturbing them. The next is avoidance, and this is when a person slowly starts isolating themselves and they disengage from their surroundings. They show less interest in their hobbies and whatever they used to love to do. Thirdly, is the changes in thinking and mood which are negative. This is dangerous because this can commonly lead to depression and anxiety, and this leads them to suicidal thoughts. Lastly, is the changes in physical and emotional reactions. This doesn't only mean negative changes. This could also mean a whole different change, like a person could have been a totally different person at one time, and now they are a totally different stranger after the whole incident. So, to answer my question from earlier, no, people don't just live with it. PTSD can be cured, and here are three ways to do that: through psychotherapy, medication, and coping and support. The most common way to treat PTSD is by psychotherapy, and this is usually done by professionals like therapists. The first way is through a cognitive behavioral therapy, which is known as CBT. This therapy is used to address the negative thoughts that occur recurrently. So instead of addressing these thoughts, what these people do is that they push away these thoughts and carry on with their daily activities. But this is quite dangerous because once a person pushes away these kind of thoughts, the thoughts can come back to them again and again, and they wouldn't know how to deal with it. The next in psychotherapy is exposure therapy. And unlike the earlier one, this helps the patient overcome their fear and anxiety. Exposure therapy is conducted in four different ways. Firstly, in vivo exposure is where a person is exposed to their traumatic events directly. For example, if a person was raped earlier in their childhood, the patient may be led back to the place where the incident had happened, or maybe the person is asked to think of it again, directly accessing the event. Secondly, imaginal exposure is to create similar feelings caused by the trauma. In certain situations, like maybe drowning, for example, the patient can't obviously be brought back into the sea or the place of incident to drown them again. So, by going through the exposure, they learn how to overcome those emotions. Thirdly is interoceptive exposure. This is when the treatment is used to treat physical manifestations of the trauma, such as panic attacks. The prolonged exposure therapy is a combination of two or more of the above therapies, and only the therapist will usually know how to combine these exposures to come up with a proper plan in conducting the exposure therapy. The last psychotherapy used is usually the eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which is known as EDMR. This is when the therapist helps the patient to change how they react to memory. This is done in 8 phases. In the earlier phases, the therapist usually takes the history of the patient and assesses the situation or the trauma that they have gone through. Next, in the later on phases, the EDMR is conducted. This is conducted usually by wagging their 2 fingers together or tapping on something rapidly. The therapist can also use their feet or an object as long as the patient is focused on the moving object. it's fine because their minds are the one which will be active and going back to the thoughts of the trauma. And in the last two stages of EDMR, which are stage 7 and 8, they assess the situation after the treatment to see whether the patient is getting better or worse. Besides psychotherapy, another way to treat PTSD is medication. But it is usually not opted unless the psychotherapy isn't really working on the patients. The first type of drug would be antidepressants, where selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, commonly known as SSRIs, are usually used. So serotonin is the neurotransmitter that causes the happiness in the body. When people are undergoing depression, anxiety, or PTSD, their serotonin levels decrease, and these antidepressants help to block the reuptake of the serotonin and leave them in our body for quite a longer time to make the patients feel better. The next drug used is prazosin, which is an alpha-1 inhibitor. So alpha-1 receptors are basically receptors that cause vasoconstriction, and this leads to high blood pressure and higher pulse rate. But by blocking these receptors, which is what the prazosin does, it reduces the high blood pressure. This concurrently reduces the insomnia and nightmares that the patients of PTSD face. However, due to a study posted by WebMDB and American scientists, prazosin is less commonly used due to its less beneficial values over placebo drugs. So we have come to 2 points in curing and treating PTSD, which are psychotherapy and medication. The last point, which is the simplest point to treat PTSD, is by simply finding the suitable coping and support mechanisms. The first way is by support groups. Support groups are not commonly known in Malaysia, but one famous one is Befrienders KL. Local therapists usually have direct contacts with support groups. Through a support group, a person may feel more validated and receive social support because what we go through and what they go through are totally different emotions. So we may not be able to understand them completely. By joining support groups, patients get to communicate with people from the similar background and similar emotions, and they may be able to help and learn from each other through this journey together. Besides that, patients should break the cycle. This cycle refers to when a person is having the same thoughts again and again. This can take a short break by maybe having a new hobby so their mind is focused on something new instead. Breathing exercises and taking a walk is also very calming for patients with PTSD, as this takes their mind off of their traumatic events or memories. Lastly, another coping mechanism is by keeping in touch with friends and families. This is so that they stay connected with each other. Patients can share their emotions and share their stories so that they feel a weight is lifted off their chest. Faith leaders in this case also play an important role because some patients may feel that they have no one by their side. So at this time, faith leaders help them to connect better with God and their religion. To conclude, people who have gone through such traumas in their lives also deserve another chance to live normally. Now that we know, let us share these 3 ways to cure PTSD: psychotherapy, medications, coping and support with those in need of them. Let us all work together and help our friends and families who are suffering from PTSD to help them cope with it and prevent them from going into something worse like depression or anxiety, so that they too can live a normal and happy life like us. As what S. Kelly Harrell has once said before, we don't heal in isolation, but in community. Thank you.